Jared Polin, FroKnowsPhoto.com, and this is your...
What are you doing? We never play football.
I'm trying to cement relationships here.
Photo News Fix. This fix is brought to you by B&H and their Payboo credit card, where you pay the tax and B&H pays you back instantly for the same amount. It works, it really does work, because I've done it myself. Now, I'm very selective when it comes to applying for new credit cards, but since I was making a huge $14,000 purchase at B&H and stood to save over $800, it was kind of a no-brainer to apply for the card and in minutes get approved and start saving all that tax. In case you're wondering, I bought 36 new hard drives for the new server we're building in the Fro factory. There's two ways you can save. You pay the tax and B&H pays you back instantly, or two, you get 12-month special financing on purchases of $599 or more. That means if you grab the new 28-70 f2 Sony and the A1 II and a few other accessories, you're looking at roughly $10,000, which means you stand to save hundreds and hundreds of dollars in tax just by using your Payboo card. And it's not just on cameras, it's on everything B&H offers. Remember, always charge responsibly.
Low on cash, but still need to get your boo? Don't worry.
For more information and to apply for your Payboo card right now, head on over to the link on the screen or down below in the description. Now, before we start this fix, I do want to apologize to anyone who was offended by my shirtless antics in last week's fix. It doesn't feel good, but it works.
Nipples.
But more importantly, I want to apologize to anyone who missed it. You missed a great show. First up, Canon's flagship R1 has officially started to ship to the 12 people who pre-ordered it. 12! Take that, Elm Mount Alliance people who think I only give you shit. Because I give everybody shit.
But if they hate him, why do they listen?
I kid. Now, I've had the R1 for about a month now and have used it extensively. Now, I won't sit here like some other reviewers and say that I've taken 36,926 shots as if the amount of shots you take matters, especially with a camera that shoots 40 frames per second and 20 frames per second with pre-shooting on. Phone call, I wonder who that could be. Hello? Oh, it's Dan. What's that? I've taken exactly 36,926 shots with the R1. Great, thanks, goodbye. You're fired.
Dear Jared, Steven is busy editing the...
Okay, you're not fired, you're hired again. I've shot everything from field hockey to soccer to flag football, US Open tennis, college football, animals at the zoo, squash, basketball, and even a concert. Now, how do I say this? The R3 is dead to me.
That's awfully dramatic.
Now, don't get me wrong, the R3 is still amazing, but the R1 goes above and beyond the R3 in just about every way, and dare I say, I was wrong. Flagship, Steven? Are you sure about that? It is worthy of the term flagship. Question mark, it's a question mark. I'm asking a question right there.
Damn it! Who typed a question mark?
This is to the R3 users. You won't know until you know, but you'll know as soon as you know. You know?
No.
The R1's autofocus is leaps and bounds better than the R3's, which is insane to say because the R3's autofocus was the best in the world until the R5 Mark II and the R1 hit the market. The viewfinder is truly a massive window into the world. The body, which I originally thought was awkwardly big, feels amazing and makes the R3 feel cramped when you go back to using it. Now, its high ISO is insane because to me, 40,000 looks like what 4,000 used to look like just a few generations ago. Now, I could keep going, but in the interest of time, I'll finish this news story with the R1 is a worthy upgrade for pros who want and demand the best of the best with honors, sir, to help them get the job done and get it done well. I personally love it, and it is my camera of choice.
And it's the choice of a new generation.
Next up, Sony just announced two new flagship products, the Flagship A1 II and a 28-70 f2. Now let's start with the 28-70 f2, the lens that caused me to switch from Sony to Canon amongst other things. The 28-70 f2 G Master is 36% lighter than Canon's version, and it should be, being that it's 6 years newer. Now, it feels great in the hands. It's basically the size of Sony's original 24-70 2.8 GM. It weighs in at 2.02 pounds or 918 grams versus 3.15 pounds of Canon's. It packs an autofocus punch with four XD linear motors for silent and ludicrous speed autofocus.
Ludicrous speed, go!
To me, it's a staple lens that every pro should have in their arsenal. The images just have a look that 2.8 doesn't give you. There's a dimension and feel that will make your images go boom!
We bring the boom!
Now, this next statement is for people just starting out. Please, please, please do not mistake this for thinking you need the best of everything. You can get great results with a tin can if you know what you're doing. Keep shooting and growing, and no one that's not a photographer, and even photographers, are ever gonna look at your winning shots and go, was this taken with the 28-70 f2? Because if not, it sucks. Now that that's out of the way, what's the 28-70 f2 GM gonna set you back? $2,900. Now, it is expensive and it's not needed for most people, so don't get upset if you're not gonna buy it. If you can't afford it, then it's not for you. But once again, full-time working pros in the field that make a lot of money doing this, yeah, you're gonna want this lens. And no, I will not be switching back to Sony now that this lens exists.
That was pretty anticlimactic.
And finally, let's talk about Sony's flagship A1 II. Now, if you missed my full hands-on preview of it, you can check it out after the fix is over because it is linked down below. Now, I've had the A1 II for a little while now and was able to take it out to shoot professional soccer, college football, the Renaissance Fair, portraits, and animals at the zoo. Now, the A1 II addressed the biggest shortcomings of the original A1, but let's start with some of the specs right now. It sports the same fantastic sensor as the A1, which is a 50 megapixel stacked sensor, not a global sensor, but Sony says you will get roughly a stop better image quality thanks to some tweaks to the image processor. The A1 II now sports the same exact body as the A9 III, which is one of the best feeling bodies ever made, which is good for Sony because all of their bodies felt like shit before this one.
Put that shit in my hand.
It still shoots at 30 frames per second, but it does have a boost mode to boost your still frames per second, shooting all the way beyond 30, all the way to 30. Yeah, it maxes out at 30 frames per second. Now, for anybody complaining, that's 30 frames per second at 50 freaking megapixels. Good luck having your camera do that. Now, in terms of autofocus, you get the same AI processor found in the A9 III, which is leaps and bounds better than that of the original A1. Now, hot take incoming right here, it's official.
Oh shit, what?
Canon's autofocus in the R1 and R5 Mark II is superior to that of the A9 III and the A1 II. And not to be left out, it also blows the Z8 and Z9 so far out of the water. Now, if you disagree, you can tell me down below in the comments, but only if you've personally used all the cameras I just mentioned. If not, Adam Sandler has a message for you.
Shut up!
The A1 II adds pre-shooting of up to 1 full second, all the way down to 1/100th of a second, which is far superior to what Canon currently offers, which is locked in at 1/2 of a second. That's it. 1/2 a second pre-shooting. It's either on or off. The A1 II is a beautiful, beautiful camera. It handles extremely well in every situation that I threw at it. It's fast, responsive, and a pleasure to use, especially with the new 28-70 f2. The files out of the camera are strong, but Sony loses me and will probably lose a lot of other people at the price. The A1 II is certainly priced like a flagship at $6,500.
I'll take two.
Now, the issue is Canon's R5 Mark II, with its 45 megapixels, 30 frames per second pre-shooting capable, insane autofocus camera is $2,200 less. I'm also obligated to mention the Z8 here as well, which is priced at an insane $3,500. $200 on sale right now. Now, of course, it's not as good as the A1 II, but it's certainly not a bad camera for that price.
Put me down too, man. I get one.
So that right there is the biggest issue with the A1 II. It's priced horribly wrong. 4 or 5 years ago, when it was the only game in town, it made sense, but today, it's at least $2,000 overpriced. Look, if you're an A1 shooter who didn't opt for the A9 III with its global shutter and rocket ship shooting speed, you probably don't need to upgrade to the A1 II unless you want the better autofocus and prefer 50 over 24 megapixels of the A9 III. But it is certainly priced wrong, and I think Sony made a mistake here. What do you think about the price? Let me know down below. And there you have it. That's your photo news fix this time around. Thank you very much for watching. Jared Polin, PhonosPhoto.com. See ya.